The Indian Navy is currently flexing its muscle in the hotbed of global disputes, the resource-rich South China Sea. The multi-nation submarine rescue exercise, dubbed at Pacific Reach 2025, involves not just the Indian Navy, but also the United States, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore sending their submarines or submarine rescue ships. Witnessing the participation of more than 40 nations as active participants, even China is an observer. Exercise Pacific Reach 2025 is officially being hosted by Singapore. This is surprising as China needs to learn submarine rescue. In 2023, a Chinese nuclear submarine sank in the Yellow Sea, killing 55 sailors and officers after setting off China's own trap for US submarines. Then in 2024, China's latest nuclear submarine sank in the dock in Wuhan. Still, India, United States and China all present in this latest exercise makes it interesting. The Singapore Navy published a statement on the 15th of September saying, "We look forward to exercising with our partners to share best practices, strengthen interoperability, and with one goal, to enhance the safety of our submariners at sea." Unquote. Now, the exercise is divided into two phases. The harbor phase, featuring professional exchanges, medical symposiums, and cross-deck visits. Second is the ongoing sea phase, which includes joint submarine rescue drills by enacting almost real-world missions in the sea, as well as exchanging the best practices in undersea rescue operations. Now, Indian Navy has sent its INS Nistar, its newly commissioned specialized submarine rescue vessel, after its maiden port call at Changi Naval Base in Singapore on the 14th of September. The Indian Navy stated, "The sea phase of the exercise would witness INS Nistar engaging in multiple intervention and rescue operations with participating assets in South China Sea." Unquote. An official added how INS Nistar's deployment to exercise Pacific Reach highlights India's commitment to regional maritime cooperation and the shared goal of advancing submarine safety. So what role does China have to play in this exercise? Becoming one of the observer countries, China has not sent a sea-going asset or naval or air asset. Military observers have called it odd. The development comes at a time when China is closing the gap with the United States in underwater warfighting domain, both in quantity as well as in quality. The greatest fear will become a reality as China is poised to outnumber the United States in terms of submarines by 2030, which will also get quieter, faster, and capable of carrying more advanced weapons. According to Center for Statistic and International Studies, China now possesses the world's largest maritime fighting force, operating 234 warships as compared to US Navy's 219 warships. According to the Nuclear Threat Initiative, China has 60 submarines, out of which 12 are nuclear powered. China has 6 ballistic missile submarines or SSBNs, 6 nuclear-powered attack submarines or SSNs, and 48 diesel-electric attack submarines or SSKs. Now, according to the Pentagon's report on Chinese military, it launched its first nuclear-powered submarine in October 2023. The Pentagon reported that Chinese Navy will have the ability to conduct long-range precision strikes against land targets from its submarines and surface combatants using land attack cruise missiles, notably enhancing China's power projection capabilities." Unquote. The capabilities of its two nuclear submarine types, the Type 095 and Type 096, match those used by the United States and Russia. In fact, the Type 095 can reportedly carry 24 torpedoes and 16 vertical launch units and is equipped with the YJ-18 anti-ship missiles. The new nuclear submarine Type 096 is capable of carrying nuclear counterattacks. It can attack the enemy's fleet on the sea, surface, from a long distance, having a deterrent effect on enemies' carrier strike groups. But in a big relief to India, the submarine fleet is yet to pose a challenge in the Indian Ocean region. Now, the US Navy had observed that China's previous ballistic missile nuclear submarines had the problem of an overly large turtle back configuration for submarine-launched missiles. They were also fairly loud. However, the biggest threat these Chinese submarines pose now is that they are difficult to track in international waters and deep waters. Meanwhile, the Indian Navy on the 13th of September received an indigenously built anti-submarine warfare ship, Androd, built by the Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers in Kolkata. Aimed to enhance India's maritime prowess against the backdrop of China's growing forays into the Indian Ocean, the ASW-SWC ship will bolster coastal surveillance capabilities of the Indian Navy. The Navy stated in a readout, Androd's delivery is yet another milestone in the Indian Navy's quest for indigenous shipbuilding, upholding the government's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat with over 80% indigenous content. The Indian submarine program has gathered steam after Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited or MDL began formal negotiations with the Indian Procurement Authority for the construction of next-generation AIP submarines in India. In what would be the country's largest naval defense procurement, Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems or TKMS announced that it has begun contract negotiations with the MDL in Mumbai for Project 75I, a flagship initiative to build 6 advanced AIP-powered conventional submarines in India. While the TKMS will transfer submarine design and know-how to India, MDL is expected to gain the capability and capacity to absorb the technology and develop future submarines right here in India. The CCP is aggressively pursuing its claim in the South China Sea as it illegally claims 90% of it due to its imaginary and illegal 9-dash line. China's expansionist claims have raised concerns over a possible crisis, confrontation, and even war in the Indo-Pacific region. Xi Jinping, though, has so far restrained China's aggressiveness for the time being, even as he has not ruled out the use of force to reunify or occupy Taiwan. China aims to control shipping lanes and $3 trillion worth in trade flows each year via the South China Sea, and its sweeping claims of sovereignty over this sea is because it consists of 11 billion barrels of untapped oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. As a result, Beijing has sharply increased its harassment of other Southeast Asian nations, with nearly daily confrontations with the Philippines over the Scarborough Shoal that falls within Manila's exclusive economic zone. China's constant expansion and militarization of artificial islands here comes amid reports of substantial energy deposits and hydrocarbon resources below the surface of the West Philippine Sea. The control of this region would allow China to monopolize and control strategic trade routes and seize energy resources in case of any conflict. Have your say. Does India need to expand its own submarine fleet to confront Chinese expansionist threat? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.